thank you so much for being on with us today. Very good morning. I apologize to Kramer, our translator for the day, but I'm going to try to go a little bit slower than I usually do. I'll try not to be so excited, but that's by rule of Kramer here, not because I want to be monotone. I'm very, very excited for what we have going on today. So with this, guys, the format of our call, we're going to go through some announcements and updates, and then I'm going to bring on a special guest that I have with us here, Mr. Jared Robert, and we're going to talk about cloud, okay? But before we bring him on, we're going to go through these updates, and thank you guys for being with us this morning, and I hope you guys are having a phenomenal Saturday here. So what we're going to talk about today, guys, on today's call, the vision of the company, the technology, where it stands, and where it stands with the roadmap, and any updates that we have, okay? It's very important to understand, guys, that what we are doing is very fluid. It's ever changing. Nobody has ever done this before. Let me say that again. It's very fluid. It's ever changing. Nobody has ever done this before. When nobody's ever done it, we get to write the rules, right? There are some things that we're adapting. We're adapting into the direct sales industry. We're adapting technologies that have never been introduced into this model before, into the sales model. And I think it's going to be very, very advantageous and potentially even very profitable for those of us that get involved in this. So as you guys know, our vision has always been the same, right? It's to help as many people as we can around the world. The future belongs to us. It belongs to the people. And the way that we've decided to do that is by decentralizing the economic power of the cloud. We call it democratizing the cloud. That's our vision. That's our mission. And we want to allow people to understand that and know that. Before we go into all the updates and all the craziness, I do want to knock this out. I forgot I put this slide first. So I wanted to knock this out because we have a lot of people that have emailed in today. Last night at about 11 p.m., our Citrus Lemon Validator blockchain friends have sent out an email to all of the Validator node owners, okay? We've evaluated the email because we've had hundreds and hundreds of emails come in overnight. And this is our summary. There will be an official communication going out on this within the next probably 30 to 45 minutes, within the hour, let's say. But this is the breakdown. If you guys read through the actual email, number one, we appreciate that you guys have sent us the email, and thank you for that. If you have not done it, there's no need to do it. We've already received it hundreds and hundreds of times, so there's no need to continue to forward us this Lemon Validator setup email, okay? But the instructions are broken down into 3 steps, and this is from my evaluation of it this morning. Number one, it's the setup of the archive node. What does that mean? That's the setup of the hardware. It's the configuration of the storage node with the compute node, with the virtual machine, okay? Step number 2 is fund the validator, and step number 3 is set up the validator. These steps, okay, must be done in order. And what we've noticed in this setup process is that Lemon has still not issued the LTO token to you as the validator owner. So what we're doing right now is we will start the setup process of the archive node over the weekend, the beginning of the week. We'll start to spin up the resources, the hardware resources, do whatever configuration the cloud team must do to get that hard archive node done. However, we must wait for you to receive your LTO token in your wallet. Once that is done, okay, once you have received your LTO token, it's a little bit of, communication here. You're going to let us know, and we're going to have a process for you, okay, a process for you as the user to be able to fund your validator and set up the validator. I do want to make one thing very clear here, guys. I know a lot of you guys, whether you're a Cloudx owner listening to this right now and you have friends in Lemon, or you joined the call right now and you're just a Lemon validator user and you want to know what's going on. I'll tell you that last bullet point there on your screen is our priority. Security is priority over speed. I know a lot of you guys are like, well, we want to go fast. We want to go fast. We want to go fast. We want to be set up first. there's no point being set up first if we're sacrificing our security concerns, okay? And I want those people that are savvy in crypto, that understand crypto, to help educate and to help communicate to their first-time crypto users that security is key. If there is a security breach in the setup of your validator, meaning it's your crypto, your keys, okay? We must do things the right way. We do not want to have access to anybody's keys, anybody's passwords. That's all you as the end user, okay? So it is very important that we understand that you understand that we are not going to go fast just because you want us to. We're going to do things slow and securely, because it doesn't matter how fast you get it set up if there's a security breach or if you're not secure, okay? So please understand that that is going to be our main priority. Our updates on our DAO here, we do have some pretty significant stuff that's happened this week. Our DAO tech team, our blockchain team has updated and added UI for minting. So that is being tested. There were some mints done on the testnet this week, as you can see, for purchasing and for minting directly on the blockchain or for minting with a credit. All of that testing was done this week. They also added a structure for all the historical data to be used in the displays, meaning it can pull in your transaction history from your connected wallet. What we have up next is the staking NFT functionality, the collecting the rewards, and then polishing for the release of V1. Our hope is that the release of V1, so this is me giving dates here, guys, so if you guys want to listen up, the release for V1 will be potentially within the next 14 days. You guys can do the calculation. Let's call it October 15th, okay? I wouldn't take that to the bank, but it's going to be plus or minus a few days there. We're still waiting to hear back from the state of Utah on the audits of the smart contracts, so that could be the thing that pushes us back from that date. But if they get to us pretty quickly, I know our tech teams are working 18-hour plus days to get this thing up and running for us, okay? All right. So let's talk a little bit about getting back to our vision, getting back to the technology, getting back to Cloudx, okay? So DAO, October 15th, Lemon validators, we'll get up your archive node set up. And so let's talk a little bit about this. This is what I was talking about earlier, okay? We as a ecosystem, as a Project Cloudx, as Innate, what we are doing, like I said, has never been done before. We are working on a business model that I call business symmetry, okay? We're a symmetric business. That means we're growing two things at one time. We're growing a hardware vertical and a software vertical into a direct sales channel, okay? Into the network marketing industry. Now, in order for us to do that, there's a lot of pivoting, there's a lot of changing, there's a lot of things that come up on a day-to-day basis that we have to make decisions on, that I have to make decisions on, that my corporate team has to make decisions on. And believe me when I tell you that we are making the best possible decisions to make the best possible outcome for you, the end user, the customer, the member, the DAO member, the tech user, however you're getting involved. We are creating different strategies and even different partnerships, which we're going to be excited to announce here in the next coming weeks, different partnerships into the Web3 space of companies that will build exclusively on our technology, that will spin up their resources and scale their businesses directly on the Cloudx hardware. So when people start asking, oh, do you have cloud customers? Yeah, we can say we've got already a couple different tech partnerships. We have enterprise level customers. We have individual retail subscriptions going out. We have a lot of stuff in the works here at Innate. So guys, we're very excited. The cloud utilization is starting to come in very nicely. We are actually out there talking to a lot of, I'll call them larger size investors to potentially even bring back our LTO program. There is just so much stuff going on here at the company that I'm very, very excited for what's coming forward and excited for the team that we're putting together, okay? So before I go ahead and bring on my special guest, I kind of just want to remind everybody of our roadmap, okay? Where we started, where we're at, and where we're going. Okay, so this was our roadmap. So this slide has not been altered. This is the beginning of the year. Okay, phase one. We said we're going to do Q1 2024. We're going to start the research and development, which happened back in November, December of last year, the business model implementation, and do a run of pre-sales. A lot of you guys here purchased in February, March, April at some pretty phenomenal prices. $10,000 to $12,500. A lot of you guys purchased your basic compute node. That, as you guys know, the pricing has changed. It's gone up incrementally because it gets more and more expensive as this hardware gets more and more sophisticated and basically higher specs into what we're doing, higher capacity for the resources. Okay, so this is where we started. This was phase one. We did the research and development, we implemented the business model, and we did our pre-sales. We did about $1.5 million in pre-sales before we even had software. We did $1.5 million in hardware sales before we even did software. So there is a reason why you guys at the beginning paid a lower price. It's because you've had to wait longer. People that are starting to get involved now, the prices are going to be fair, but higher than what you paid, because their waiting time is going to be less and less and less. So I want you guys to remember that as we move on. So as we went into April, May, and June here, we launched our alpha phase, our beta phase. Our first servers were up and ready for the launch of Nova, April 22nd, okay, of this year, April 22nd. So that's when we actually finally got some type of software out there, some type of system or platform or web hosting that an end user could purchase from us so it could start generating revenue. Okay, that happened at the end of April. So the first 4 months of the year, it was a hope and a dream. Starting in April is when we really started. April, May, June. As you guys know, April, May, June, there was a lot of people calling into question, oh, are they going to really be able to do it? Is Joe going to be able to do it? And we're proving the concept. And a lot of times when you're in that proof of concept, you might doubt. There's potentially a lot of critics out there, a lot of haters out there. But I like to tell you guys is we just continue to move forward. And every single day we're progressing and we're building software. We're making better iterations of our software. We're bringing in better people. Okay. Towards the end of July, we brought on our first, I guess, call it enterprise or retail level customer who's brought in hundreds of thousands of dollars in cloud compute sales, which is a Lemon Validator community, which is the update we gave at the beginning of this call. We want to thank the Lemon community. We want to thank all of the validators out there for believing in us, for believing in Cloudx, for potentially even buying hardware to host your nodes on. So thank you to that Lemon community, to those validator owners, those independent validator owners. We want to give you a thank you, a shout out to all of you guys, because you guys are potentially our first proof of enterprise level client on that. Okay. Now, where we are at right now, in this whole process, we set up our first data center in Irvine, California. Okay. I've had probably about 40 to 50 people go out and visit this data center. We were just out there a few weeks ago, checking it out with a couple of our friends from Latin America. And it's great, right? We got the hardware in there. We got our cage in there. We're a co-location with one of the largest data center companies in the country right now. And what we're doing right now, guys, is it says redundancy upgrade. We've already built out our second data center, meaning we have the space and we have the power. Over the last few weeks, we've had some changes within our contracting staff, where we had to make some internal changes as a company. As you guys know, companies are ever changing. We are in that startup phase, and we decided to do a mutual separation with some of our cloud team and tech teams, and just for the betterment of the community and for the betterment of the company or the organization, we decided to kind of put a hold on the hardware order that was going to be placed about 2 weeks ago. So this is a little bit of a story to tell you that Atlanta is still, which is our second data center, Atlanta is still on par to be set up within the coming few weeks. It's probably going to take us about 8 weeks to get hardware over there, okay, and another 4 weeks to get it set up, or a couple weeks to get it set up. We're doing the best that we can. But I can tell you, for the pause, for the people that are saying, oh, well, there's a delay of a couple weeks, maybe it's a 3 to 4 week delay, which is true. There's about a 3 to 4 week delay here. It should not affect any of the timelines that we have or expectations. If we do, they're going to be really close. But what we decided to do, and I'm going to bring my special guest on here in a second, is what we decided to do is spec out an entire new set of hardware, okay? And this goes to the overall vision of what we're doing. It talks to our first cloud customer as well, our Lemon Validator friends. We decided, hey, validator nodes is something that we as a cloud could, a niche that we can get into. But in order for us to do that, we're going to have to have a different setup and a different machine for us to be able to have a better capacity to help out the blockchain community for validator nodes. Okay, so we'll talk about that here in a second. But what I want you guys to know with this update, hardware for these 64-ish nodes that are pending right now, those are going to be ordered within the next coming 7 to 10 business days. And we will have those set up in Atlanta for you guys within the coming, call it 8 to 12 weeks, 3 to 4, 2 to, well, depends on the lead time, maybe 3 months ish. Okay. One of the things that we're doing as well, and we'll talk through this with Jared in a minute, is we're going to be implementing a storage upgrade into our cloud. Okay. I'm calling it a storage node. It's probably not the right term. But a lot of people have been asking me for a lower price point hardware. This is how we're going to get it. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, Joe, 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 price points that you're talking about. That's not easy for a lot of people. And I get that, but it is necessary for the cloud. We need those compute nodes in. We need to have those resources in first for us to put the storage hardware in as well. Okay. So I want you to understand there's a little bit of strategy here. We will have our innate drive, our storage solution app up and running. It is in beta testing. The APKs are actually being delivered this coming week. And we actually have our own custom, I'll call it a DevOps, where it's more of a customizable solution for small business owners to go in and spin up their resources on their own. All that is in the works. I hope to have that within the next 6 to 8 weeks as well. So we got a lot of stuff coming up onto the roadmap. And as well, guys, we have our phase 2 of our mid compute and our large compute nodes. I do not have pricing on here, which we had talked about. But what we're going to do is we're going to do an AMA style. We're going to do an AMA style conversation here with Jared. You guys are going to be free to ask us any questions about kind of the roadmap, mid compute nodes, large compute nodes. We're going to talk to you guys more in vision and strategy terms, not in fixed numbers, because those are still being calculated. Okay. Again, phase 3 will be our large compute nodes here. Yes, we'll definitely talk about that, Colin. All right. So with that, guys, I want to take a minute and I want to talk about this very important announcement. I've already mentioned Jared's name a couple different times, but Jared is going to be coming on board internally into the company of Innate Technologies, LLC, okay, which is it's a separate entity from the DAO, but Innate Technologies is our hardware and cloud solutions division of our Innate brand, okay? Jared is going to come in as the chief technology officer of that entity, and he's going to be running everything that is cloud engineering, network, hardware resources, and the scaling of our business model. Now, before I bring Jared on, I want to talk a little bit about who he is. Number one, I want you guys to know that Jared is more like family to me. You know, known him, his brother, and his family for a very long time, going on well over a decade and a half here. And just discussing this model with him, and I figured this was the right move to make for us. Number one, because I think it's important to have people that you can know and trust that are not going to screw you in the right seats in the bus. That's number one. Number two is he has 30 plus years experience in the technology space in IT and related fields. He's architected and managed different networks for multi-million, even multi-billion dollar companies around the country. He's helped on the startup phase as well. So he understands what it's like, not just in the call it a Fortune 500 role, but also in the startup phase where it's ever changing. And some of our previous engineers, they wanted, no, we need cookie cutter. There's no changing it. We have to scope it out. That's just not who we are. We're a startup. If you guys know me, I'm always innovating. I'm always changing. And it was getting very difficult to work on the human aspect with a lot of the team. So I figured it was time for a change. It was time for us to find somebody that understood our model. And that last bullet point there was probably the most important thing to me. Jared has worked as a distributor inside of the network marketing industry. He's been a six-figure network marketing earner. Okay. So for me, somebody that understands network marketing and direct sales is key, because if you don't understand network marketing, you don't understand what we're doing with the technology, because we're doing something different than traditional cloud. Not that it's different on the sales on the B2B side, but it's different for you guys as independent cloud owners on the reports and what is important to you. So understanding network marketing, I think was absolutely the thing that made me say, besides all of the experience, to say, look, this is the right move for us. Okay. Jared has various experiences in setting up exactly what we're doing. I took him down to our data center in Irvine. He had some good things to say. He had some things that he could fix in there. But definitely it's within his wheelhouse. Everything that we are doing, from single rack to multi-rack to on-premise, meaning in your building, if you will, and colo is co-location, meaning it's in other people's data centers. Jared has come in. He's going to help us design, implement, and manage our innate cloud, our enterprise level cloud. So Jared, if you will, I know you're already there. You're unmuted with me, but I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share here. I know there's some people. I think I might share my screen. Yeah, we'll share a screen again in a few minutes, but I do want people to kind of get a bigger view of who you are on the screen. And Jared, I'll kind of turn it over to you, and I appreciate you coming on board, Jared. I guess kind of the first question as you introduce yourself is, what did you like about our model, Jared? Why do you think it'll work for what we're doing inside network marketing?
So I wanted to thank you for that warm welcome. It's all lies. It's not, no. I'm very, very excited about what is being done here. If you are in the tech industry at all, if you've ever gone through and you look out there, there's a lot of cloud hosting. I can tell you stories. I've heard people, what's the future of cloud hosting? And I can tell you about entire data centers that within weeks of them opening their doors for business, they were completely full and having to build another data center to fill it up. There's no stopping that. Everything is, all the information is out there. There's lots of big players. There's lots of little players. So how is anybody going to be able to go and grow? And that's what I really like about what's going on here, is we're blending two things that have never been blended before. We're taking a traditional cloud architectural model of cloud hosting and being able to do that, and we're solving the major problems that anybody that tries to do cloud hosting has. How do you fill it? How do you get your customers? How do you grow it? Because they always get held back by either investment, capital, be able to buy and build. And anybody who doesn't know, it's incredibly expensive to build out even small co-location data centers. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars. It is incredibly expensive. And that is a barrier of entry for people. So right off the bat, we're solving that problem. We can grow as fast as we can grow. The other part of it is, well, how do we fill it? We got a whole direct marketing front end, and network marketing is direct sales marketing is the fastest, most efficient way to sell product on the planet. Just because a lot of people on the planet don't understand that and don't want to take advantage of it doesn't change the fact that it's the fastest thing out there. Put those two together, yeah, please sign me up. I'm ready. So that's why I'm here.
Perfect. Well, and Jared, I know we've gotten to talk a lot more in depth on a professional level, over the last few weeks, and you've taken a look of what we, the infrastructure that we have set up. And I know you come in and you've made some suggestions on changes and stuff like that. Let's talk a little bit about those changes, the hardware, specifications, our strategies for growing, the data centers, even, kind of what you saw with us. You didn't know who Lemon was. You thought we were talking about some citrus fruit when we came in, and and kind of you saw what their needs were as one of our first clients, and you see what the validator industry as a whole does. Let's maybe talk about that and the reasons why, we're putting the strategy in place, and we're updating pricing on basic compute nodes, mid compute nodes, large compute nodes, and why that is compared to some of the hardware we have currently.
So in coming in and looking at things, and you mentioned a little bit about it, we're starting to run into problems of being overly rigid, not being able to be flexible, not being able to pivot. What a lot of people don't really understand about the cloud, it's not just simply you can put a vanilla thing in place and then it will run anything and everything. You really have to build your cloud, distributed cloud resources based on your anticipated business model. So what type of products you're going to host, what type of things you're going to run on it. When you start talking about like an AWS, an Azure, or Google Cloud, they are so massively large, but anybody that's ever gone in there, have you ever noticed there is a list, it feels like a billion different things, and you're going, oh my gosh, which one is what I need? Why do they have so many options? And the reason is because different things serve different types of virtualization and compute requirements. Some things are very database intensive. That's going to be very RAM and very high speed storage intensive. Whereas some things are not RAM intensive, they're CPU intensive. Mm-hmm. Some things are just lower intensity, but they use lots of slow storage, which you would call archival storage. And even with the way that you architect the cloud itself, the interconnects, how the things talk, how everything's done, you also need to plan for your model. So one of the things that I saw when coming in was it was very rigid in what was there. We didn't have a lot of flexibility, and what was in place was very geared to one little subsection of the market, which is fine, but it left a lot of money on the table, to be perfectly honest. And so the changes that we're making ourselves more flexible, being able to deal with more types of hostings, and the hardware that we're going to is more flexible as well, being able to service a much broader type of thing. For instance, someone was asking, what's the advantages of a 30K or 50K node versus a basic compute? To be perfectly honest, a 30K node has double the power of a 20K node. Plain and simple. It has double the RAM and almost double the CPU. It is, you're getting double for only 50% more. Well, and actually math would be 100% more, but it's not, it's 50% more. Anyway, when you start looking into the bigger ones, and we haven't really spec'd out the 50K yet, but you start getting into things like GPU-backed nodes. These allow you to be able to do very specialized things. It's something that we're actually pivoting towards very quickly because we have interest from several large enterprises for GPU-backed VDI servers, where they want to be able to do very hardware-intensive CAD, and they want to be able to do their training with it. They want to be able to spin it up for training classes, break it down after, and the expense for them to be able to buy a computer that's got 128 gigs of RAM and high-powered CPUs and all this other stuff, it's very expensive for them to buy it, and then they do the training classes all over the place, and they're having to ship it, and no, they just want to virtualize it. But you can't do it without a GPU-backed type of thing. And it's a very profitable segment of the market.
And one thing that, sorry to cut you off, Jared, just because I not that I'm a car guy, but I know there's a lot of car people out there, they understand it. I like to kind of explain it to in the sense of cars, right? Like, well, we're buying in the beginning, let's see your Toyota Camry. It's a great car. It's it's going to go a lot of miles. You're going to be able to get to and from work. It's going to be your worker car. It's going to be your commuter. It's going to be everything within its realm that it can get done. What we're doing when we're going to these mids and these larges, you're now going, like, your mid is going to be like your Mercedes AMG, your G-Wagon, right? It's a little bit more stylish. It's got more upgrades in it. It's a little bit more comfortable, but it rents out for a lot more, right? It has double the horsepower, double the capacity, and thus we can rent out for a lot more for larger enterprises that need larger compute requirements or memory requirements. And then obviously getting into the GPU space, like Jared was just talking about, those are kind of the Lamborghinis of what's going on inside a cloud. Is these things are renting out for, we call it a VM, could rent out for 10 cents to 50 cents an hour. These GPUs are renting out for
$5 an hour.
$5 an hour. So
they rent out, the high-end ones are renting out $5 an hour. For a lower end one, it's like $2 an hour, $2.50 an hour. I mean, GPUs are very expensive, but the margins on them are amazing.
Yeah.
So
guys, what we'll continue to do, number one, is I want you guys to understand, Jared coming into inside of the company as an internal, not as a contractor, kind of, our former teams were on as contractors, but, Jared inside as an officer of the company is going to allow us to have the best interest of the companies first, Jared. And I think, you come in and we've kind of identified, we have to go through the details, but we've identified a lot of inefficiencies in hardware ordering and setup and stuff like that. So maybe talk about the importance of kind of the efficiencies within, data center setup and hardware density, because I know that's part of the strategy as well.
That's definitely part of the strategy. The hardware that we're moving to is far more rack space dense. Again, this is a little on the technical side, but in your data center, you have a rack, and it's split up to 42 or 45 slices, and they call those U's. And what you're trying to do is be as efficient as you can with that space, because you have limited space and limited power. So you want to be as dense as you can within your budget and within your business model and so forth. What we're switching to is giving us a lot more flexibility because we're switching to the ability to be able to mix and match our blades rather than having to do entirely different chassis to be able to do that mixing and matching. There's a lot of planning that goes into data center architectural design based on your current needs, your future growth. It's probably boring for most people, but the end result of what we're doing is a lot more flexibility, a lot more versatility with what we can host for whatever needs of what comes along, such as validators, such as some of the other partners that we have coming down the road that we haven't announced yet. As a matter of fact, some of those partners is why we're making some changes. So, yeah.
So, Jared, well, let me address this question first, Colin Brown. So number one, Colin, the 15 to 30K. Number one, remember we weren't at 15K, we were at 16.8, and now we're actually at the basic compute node is going to be a way different price point. Those people that have bought, let me kind of just share a slide here. Let me bring back up the slides here.
I want to address part of that for Colin.
Yep.
A basic compute is going to be a basic compute, and we'll get the same value as far as how we deal with potential commissions or that sort of thing. And the reason for that is equipment you buy today is not going to be the equipment that you buy 6 months from now, that you buy a year from now. Computers are constantly changing, constantly improving, constantly getting more efficient. Price points are constantly changing. And so we didn't want to leave anybody behind that was on, that bought equipment, if we're a year from now, that had bought equipment now, and a year from now, the equipment is more powerful. And we don't want the people that bought it now to be, oh no, my stuff is, I'm not getting as much a share. So we're switching to a model, and Joe, tell me to shut up if I'm telling too much. We're switching to a model of, if you bought a certain tier, it gives you a certain share, and then decoupling it from, well, just to make it fair for people who buy now versus people who buy 6 months from now.
I think that's the gist of it, Jared, just so you understand. We're going to make it fair, right? Because what we want is we want people that bought in even the beginning hardware, 6 months ago, this newer hardware, it's going to be a little bit more powerful than what the guys bought 6 months ago. But the revenue share for the older guys is going to be the same as these newer basic compute nodes. Not the mid is going to be the higher price point at 30,000. It's going to be a whole different revenue share modeling. But so yes, it's going to be more in your question, Colin, is the 30K going to produce more? It's potentially what Jared was saying. It could be up to double what a basic compute node is, but we're not giving out those numbers yet because we got it. Like you said, we got to do the slides, we got to do some projections, and we're doing some adjustments in our model, and we want to make that fair. But at the same time, what we need to do is we need to move forward so we can get Atlanta set up, and we're needing to pivot and make these adjustments here, today, this week. And so that this is us kind of letting you know, hey, number one, everything's going to be fair. Nobody's going to get screwed. We have these 74-ish nodes that are getting purchased right now. Those people that bought under the old specification of machine are going to get the new specification of machine. Even though they're more expensive, you're basically getting a more expensive machine for the price that you've already paid. We're not asking you to pay more money. We're just telling you, hey, you're going to get a different specification than machine, which is actually a upgrade on memory, has more memory, thus it has more capacity, okay? But there's no price difference for you. We're not asking you guys to pay any more. But moving forward, once we do these pricing updates, and this is, as I told you guys a few weeks ago, this is us making these announcements and rolling out the pricing and giving dates on them. For non-members moving forward, the price of a basic compute node is going to be $20,000, okay? For founding members, okay, it's just a 10% discount, it's going to be $18,000. So there is a significant price increase in this new machine setup, okay, or specification. However, those that have already purchased their machines and have already fully purchased their machines are going to be getting grandfathered into this new hardware spec with no additional cost, okay? So want to make that very clear. Everybody that has a pending machine, you're going to be getting this new specification of machine at no additional cost. The next thing that I want to talk about here really quickly is one thing that we want to do, or that we're announcing today, is lifetime legacy pricing, okay, for anybody that is a founding member. That means you have your founder, and I want to be very clear, you have your founder membership, not just your founder DAO Seat, but the membership, the $1,500 package, okay? You have your founder membership, and you're joined you have that founder membership purchased before October 15th. So anybody that has purchased or will purchase a founder membership before October 15th will be grandfathered in at legacy pricing of $16,800. There is a caveat to that. The direct sales bonus, there is a $1,000 haircut on the direct sales bonus for this machine, just because the money has to come from somewhere where it's a give and take. So the legacy pricing won't have as high as the direct sale bonus, but it's going to be a really, really good deal. And this is lifetime pricing. So meaning in a year from now, 2 years, I mean, as long as the spec has not gone up on us seriously, obviously we might have to make some adjustments, but we'll keep a great discount for our legacy founding members there. Okay, so anybody that wants to take advantage of that, purchase their founder membership before October 15th, you will have access to that $16,800 pricing instead of the $18,000 pricing. So you're still saving there $1,200 from your founder member discount. Okay, so people that purchase the founder membership after October 15th, their price will be $18,000. Those that purchase before October 15th will be $16,800. Okay. Well, the membership is annual, correct? As long as you keep the membership, that is correct. Dr. K asked the question, please explain the difference between non-member and founding member. Dr. K, our business model, it's a Costco membership model. Okay, so we have non-members, people who are not members of the company, they're going to pay full retail. That's $20,000. If you have a founder membership, it comes with a 10% discount. Okay, if you have the ambassador membership, it comes with a 5% discount. Perfect. Perfect. All right, thank you. Any other questions there for me, for Jared? I don't know if we got another slide here. Just kind of this, I just wanted to put this summary out there. So October 1st is going to be our basic compute node pricing change. Okay, so from that day forward, we will have the 20,000 non-member pricing and the 18,000 founder member pricing. And I think it's 19,000 for the ambassador pricing. October 15th is when we'll end the founder membership promo pricing. Okay. Okay, Matt, please restate what it means for people that bought early centers at 10 and nothing. I mean, there's no difference. You're still up and running. You're still generating a base revenue with everything. So there's really no difference there. How do I know, how do the new nodes make us more competitive with product offerings tailored to mid? The new hardware specs, Jared, I'll let you take that one.
So the new hardware specs is double the CPU core count. We're going from a single CPU to a dual socket configuration with 16 core CPU. So that makes for 32 cores as opposed to the 16 that we have. And we're going from 128 gigs of RAM in a node to 512. That's for a basic. With the chassis change that we're doing, because these are blade computers, so they mount within a chassis. The chassis that we're moving to allows for multiple different types of compute within the same chassis. Whereas before, the chassis that we had, everything in the chassis had to be identical. And it was limited to single socket types of things. So that's giving us a lot more flexibility. The processors that we're moving to, having the dual core, dual CPU just makes a difference. It's the flexibility of being able to change it. I'm sorry.
I want to say one thing too, because this for me and for the people, I think this is important. When you said that was the flexibility, guys, I want to reiterate this, and Jared, correct me where I'm wrong if I'm wrong anywhere. When we have this flexibility with this new server type, we used to have to do a minimum order of 32 nodes per rack. You guys know all this, so we'd have to wait till we get 32. now that we'll have a combination in the future of mid and larges, those mid and larges get plugged into the same chassis. So within that same chassis that you guys see like on the videos of the blades running across, you can have basic, mid, large. It's all plugged into one chassis there. So as people buy basics or they buy mids or they buy larges, they're all going to fill up the same server space, that same chassis space, thus allowing us to potentially do more efficient hardware ordering and not so high node limits or minimum orders in order for us to be able to be ordering hardware on a more consistent basis. And hopefully our thought process is it'll cut down that we'll still always have the lead time of the actual hardware, but it will be ordering hardware more often, I think is what I'm trying to get people to understand.
I'm going to also add into because the question was asked, how does it make it to where we can be more tailored? This hardware also lets us use specialized CPUs so that we can put in a blade that's got specialized CPUs geared towards a specific type of task, because they make general purpose CPUs, then they make CPUs that are geared towards specific types of tasks. And it allows us to be able to make those changes where we didn't have that ability before. All we had was general purpose. And so that's that piece. The other question you're asking about Kubernetes, and yes, with the architectural changes that we are making that have come in, Kubernetes is going to be available on the product offering. We're I'd say 6 to 8 weeks before the Kubernetes stuff is ready to go. That's an estimate. It might actually be 4, to be perfectly honest. It's hard to say because this is not something you just say, oh yeah, let me bolt that on. You gotta do some stuff to it.
But that was, Colin, one of the things, because I know you and I have had some discussions before, and we talked about some of these clients, is that's kind of some of the reasons that we're making these team staff changes as well, because we weren't really getting set up the way we needed to be able to support the type of clients that you're wanting to bring in. So Jared, just so you know, I'll probably be connecting you with Colin here in the next couple of weeks.
I love it.
Getting stuff in, and because he has some great customers and he has some guys that are wanting to come in. But I wanted you to get through the setup. Colin, I'll connect you guys here very soon. Okay. Tyler asked if there's a question, if there's legacy pricing on the 30Ks and 50Ks. No, not right now, but you know me, I'll probably do some type of promo or something like that. So as that comes on and as we get the 30Ks and 50Ks out there, I'll let you guys know, and we'll definitely launch a promo. T2, I don't know if that's Jared, if you see that question. I don't really understand that question.
It's a question. I think it's an explanation.
Okay. Okay.
That's what it looks like to me, is an explanation to explain the advantage of the customized boxes. So
cool. Hey guys, I just want to remind everybody we're coming up on an hour here. You guys know I don't like to take everybody's Saturday morning. So if there's any final questions out there, or Jared, even for you, any final comments or things that you might want to tell our community here, let's start getting those put together. But final questions and then final thoughts from Jared, and we'll close up this meeting.
I'll put some thoughts while anybody puts any final questions. One of the big things for me is, I've been on both sides of this. I've been doing corporate America for quite some time. I've run businesses, which is not in the slides. I've been very successful entrepreneurially. I was very successful in network marketing when I did it. But one of the big things is, and it's always been a mantra of mine, is I want everyone to get their fair share. I don't want anybody to be getting, excuse the language, but screwed because they were not along at this or that, or because of changes. So a lot of the stuff that we are making changes on is specifically to make it fair for a changing type of market. When you start talking about hardware and what we're doing, it's a lot different than you talk about any other type of network marketing product or anything else, where it's pretty much a fixed price. It never changes. You get the thing and it's just kind of there. Whereas when you start talking about hardware, stuff that you buy now is obsolete in 5 years. Not just old, obsolete. Maybe you get 7 years out of it. And so every year, there's newer and faster and better stuff. But we don't want to start punishing the people that bought now for down the road. So making adjustments like that so that it stays fair. It's just a little thing, but I'm always going to do that. And so I want to put that out there. And then a couple of people put some things. Will revenue change having these bigger servers? I think it's safe to say yes. Not for the new basic ones. Yeah. If you're talking mid-tier.
It's going to be the tiers. It'll be based on tiers, Mark. So we'll have the basic. So we'll kind of, again, going back to my car analogy, right? You have your sedan. So you'd have your Camry and your Accord. Those are going to be the same class of car. So they're going to be rented out for the same. But then you move up to your luxury, your Mercedes AMG and a Porsche, whatever. Those are going to rent for more. That's going to, that tier, that luxury tier or that mid compute node is going to make more. And then obviously a larger. So kind of think like that. If it's within the same class or the same category, it's going to be about, it's going to make the same on the public cloud set.
Yeah. So something bought basic now, even though it's, we're getting better pricing and more bang for our buck, it's still going to make the same as basic tier, basic tier, basic tier. If it's basic tier, it's basic tier. And every quarter, every 6 months, quite honestly, we're going to see more powerful hardware for the same bang for the buck. We're always going to be trying to improve our bang for the buck, but it's going to be in a tier. It's this tier or it's that tier. This tier makes this tier makes this. That's how it is.
Yes.
I can't answer any DAO stuff. I don't know enough about it.
Take that one real quick. Yeah, that Eric. Yes, we're like I said, we're probably about 14 days away on all of the DAO stuff. So my hope is by October 14th we have both the DAO dashboard up and running and all the functionality of the blockchain up, smart contracts. The final thing would be the approval from the state, if plus or minus a few days on that from the 14th, 15th of October.
To the question of Latin America hosting, we have discussed it. There are no fixed plans in place as of yet. Right now, we're focusing on the ones that are, we need to get Atlanta filled up. And I did want to bring that up. So when it comes to buying servers, and I want the people to start to understand this, we're at the mercy of the manufacturers out there, and there's not very many players when you start talking about servers. And so you're at the mercy of when they decide they're going to ship. Right now, lead times, as of yesterday, are 8 weeks. And when they say 8 weeks, that doesn't mean 8 weeks. That means you might see it in 5 or 6. You might see it in 12. And that is the nature of server hardware, and I have no control over it. But hopefully everyone will understand that. People who bought in June getting newer servers or the older servers, I don't know the answer to that. Anything that we haven't ordered yet is newer servers.
Yeah, we haven't placed any orders since June, Jared. So a lot of those are already included. They're going to be automatically upgraded, Mark. So yes. Okay. All right, guys. Well, appreciate that. I got another caller jump on here in 2 minutes. Jared, I appreciate you. I know we're going to be seeing more of Jared, so don't feel like this is going to be the last time. Jared actually loves interacting with you. Will love interacting with you guys. Let him get, I've been keeping him, away from everybody for now because he has a lot of work to do and architecting everything out and getting all the teams under him working and the services under him working. So once things are up and working, you'll start seeing a lot more. I'll take him out of his cage and I'll let you guys see him. Okay.
He'll let me out of the basement. There we go.
All right, guys. Well, with that, thank you so much. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and put them in the chat group. We'll get them answered throughout the day. Appreciate you guys. Have a phenomenal weekend. Thanks, Jared. Thank you, Kramer, as well.
Recording stopped.